Let's do a leader meeting.
So, hey you guys, I know that around Alice Drive we say we don't stop, especially over the summer, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of heads up as to how that happened. This past week we had the biggest coffee house we've ever had over the summer, but we actually just got back from camp, and that's kind of what I want to share a little bit about. So, we saw a lot of students take next steps, whether it was how they were going to handle social media or even first meeting Jesus. And so specifically that, the theme of the camp was attributes of God. And so one night in particular, we sat down and we were talking about God's holiness and what Jesus does for us as believers. So Matt Sprinkle gets up and he just says, opens the floor, I want you guys to talk about when God made you holy. And so several students got up and shared their stories. It was fantastic, but Zach Kelly stepped down and just in front of the whole group of people there said that he'd grown up in church and been, involved, but he'd never made his faith his own, and that night is the night that God made him holy. And that moment right there, followed by, we had 6 kids come to know Jesus over the course of camp. It was phenomenal, people taking their next steps. And so that's just a little bit of a word of encouragement for you guys to see that this stuff matters and the importance and the value you guys add to the students' lives. It makes a difference.
Oh, hi. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about how you gather and give information and make people feel welcome here at Alice Drive. So sometimes you'll have a first-time guest, and if you have a first-time guest, we want to encourage you to hand them one of these. It's an orange card, right? If they fill this out, they give it back to you and you hold on to this orange card. Then you go and you grab one of these orange bags from behind the bar. You keep this card, but you give them the bag. Sometimes you might find out that it is one of your students' birthday. Please, grab one of these, fill it out, and keep it. And then sometimes, we like to have everybody in the Word. So we would encourage you to get your whole life group, sign up for a verse a day. Grab one of these cards, they're over behind the counter. Remember, give these out to the students as well. And then sometimes you might just show up to life group and you feel all alone because no one's there and it's lonely. But don't worry, because we have these things called We Missed You cards. We love seeing our students, and we know you love seeing our students too. So we would encourage you to take one of these and fill it out and hold on to it as well. And then sometimes you wonder about these students who might need a next step, and they come up to you wondering about baptism. Well, that's why we have these nifty little doodads right here. These are what we call baptism cards. We would encourage you to pick these up and take your student through this. And if they feel like baptism is their next step, have them fill this out, and then you keep this card as well. So, what do? You must be wondering by now. You have all of these cards in your hands, and this is information that we need to get out. Whether it be this or a student signing up for student leadership, we want to introduce you to our friend today. Our friend is called the Dropbox. You take all of this information, and it's located in the venue, and you just drop it on in. It was good seeing you today. Until next time.
As Christians, we're called to go and make disciples. And that means a lot of things, but it really begins with one thing, and that's understanding how to share the gospel. And I understand how nervous that can be. We don't want to get it wrong. We don't want to say the wrong thing. So how do we do it? So today I want to give you a tool for how to share the gospel. And I'm doing it on the whiteboard just because of the purposes of this video. But the fact is, it's better done on the back of a napkin at Chick-fil-A or at Starbucks, or even in the sandbox with some kids if you're hanging out and just want to share your faith. It's called 3 Circles, and it goes like this. We live in a world that is broken. All you have to do is look at your own hurt and pain to prove that that exists. There's stuff that's happened in your past proving that we live in a broken world. But even if we look at the world around us, we still have prejudice and slavery and just unbridled anger everywhere. And the problem we sit in is this: we live in this world. But the fact and the bigger reality is this: that's not how we were supposed to be. God always had a perfect design. He had a way that He wanted us to be so we could be with Him. And originally He put Adam and Eve in the garden and we weren't broken, but what they did was they chose to live life their own way. And anytime we choose to live life our own way, it's known as sin, and they brought sin into the world and we perpetuate it every single day with our lives. And that's where we sit today. We sit in brokenness. But here's the good news. God always had a plan. He always had a plan. And because He's God, He came down to earth. And because He's perfect, He was able to pay the price for the sin that we've done that made us broken. And not only did He pay the price, He rose again, proving that He is God, and also to deal with our sin. And the good news is this, that if we turn and follow Jesus, He will then restore us to God's perfect design. And that is the good news, that we don't have to continue living in this brokenness, that we can be in God's perfect design. But here's the thing, it doesn't just stop there. Because when we know Jesus, He then grows us. He grows us to be more like Him every day in our character, in our thoughts, our deeds, and our actions. And ultimately, we get to mimic Him. And what I mean is this, He then tells us to go back into the brokenness, step back into the world, and show other people the good news. This is what is known as the gospel. The good news that though we were broken, He entered this brokenness to restore us to His perfect design. And now we get to go and share that same hope with others.
So Matt got a llama outfit and he thinks it's cute to wear it around here during the off hours. And I'll admit, it's kind of cool, but can we make a deal together? If you do this next thing, I will see that he wears a llama outfit to an actual worship service at Alice Drive. Yes, we'll make that happen. The thing I want to ask from you, and it's a big ask, but at the same time, it's for your benefit. Promotion Sunday is our biggest day of the year for life groups. The purpose of life groups, as we know, is this. It's to know community. It's us looking these students in the eyes and saying, we want to do life with you. On your first day of Promotion Sunday, would you be willing to have please one event planned? Just one event as a way to say, hey, listen, you're in here hanging with us. We want to hang out with you out there. It could be a pool party, lake party, bowling. For some of you who have high schoolers, it might just be playing board games. But having something that shows them that you want to hang out with them outside of this church is so important. What we've noticed is that every student comes for Promotion Sunday because we're going to give them some gifts and we're going to have fun and feed them, and we have a slight drop off after. And I think sometimes that's because the kids see this just as another version of Sunday school. So this year we're going to really make some strides to get out of that rut. So that first day, if you could have us something so we can push it out to your kids, all we need from you before that, 2 weeks before, is what you're doing, when you're going to be doing it, and where you're going to be doing it. We'll make the flyers for you to hand out. We will mail them to your kids in the mail for you. All we ask for you is to love them well off this campus, and we will help you however we can. Some of you have a big group, so it's not going to be that hard for you to do it. You can be like, hey guys, show up at my house and I'm going to pop popcorn, and you're going to have 20 kids show up. Some of you have a growing group, and what may be in your advantage is say, hey listen, reach across, find another life group leader and say, hey, can we do an event together? However you choose to do it, I am on board with you. And maybe if we have these events, maybe Matt might even should go to a few of them in a llama outfit. That might be a good idea. Anyways, thank y'all. If you can, just let us know what you're doing, and we will help take you to that no community place. We want to be there with you in it. Love you. It's been good seeing you in the camera. We'll see you out there in church.